What's up, gamers? DreamcastGuy here, talking today about Kill the Justice League, because this is a game I feel like a lot of people are very curious about. Not because they expect it to be good, but instead, everybody fully understands that this is going to be a dumpster fire. This is probably going to be one of the worst games of the entire year. It is a live service experience where we're playing as the Suicide Squad, trying to track down and kill a bunch of corrupted members of the Justice League. Green Lantern, Flash, Batman, and I mean, that sounds like a cool concept, except for the fact that it's a third-person looter shooter, which is basically going to be Destiny with daily quests and microtransactions and battle passes. Well, the reason we're talking about it today is because the developers approached a bunch of websites and allowed them to play 4 hours of the game itself, and everybody hates it. Hates it. Now, typically, when it comes to previews, they're at least somewhat positive. They find the best parts of it, but even IGN, which is kind of famous for previewing sometimes a bit too nicely, said they straight up didn't like it. People are screenshotting the fact that everything from Video Game Chronicle to Eurogamer, everybody is just straight up saying, hey, this is bad. This is confusingly bad. In fact, people are kind of digging up older quotes where they're being like, hey, we promise this game isn't going to flop like the Avengers. Well, guess what? Yeah, it's definitely gonna flop. Now, here's the issue with it. I watched all the gameplay they've posted, tons and tons and tons of it. So the idea is Brainiac manages to corrupt the Justice League, and so typical BS of, hey, Captain Boomerang, King Shark, and freaking Harley Quinn gotta team up to actually battle against them and find their weaknesses. The thing is, it's just a generic shooter. You just straight up walk around tiny maps and do really simple objectives over and over again. Hey, kill 2 waves of enemies. Hey, it's time to defend a checkpoint. Hey, pick up an objective. And then here's the worst part. When it actually comes to the fights, killing the members of the Justice League, which this isn't a spoiler because the game isn't out, and obviously that's the whole purpose of it, is killing the Justice League, you just shoot them. That's it. This is the Flash. The freaking Silver Speedster himself. The Red Menace. This dude is literally impossible to beat. You just shoot him? So this is what the previews have really been laser focused on, which is that even the purpose of this game truly makes no sense. This is the Rocksteady universe. In fact, here in the IGN video, they actually talked about the fact that it's super bizarre because this is canonically taking place after the events of the Batman Arkham games. So after we had Batman being sneaky and doing all these takedowns, this Batman gets corrupted and just shot to death by Harley Quinn. It is so strange to me that they would even imagine that people would be okay with that. Like, everybody loves the Arkham games. Why would I want to kill that Batman? Why would I want to play this crappy, basic looter shooter after having the best superhero games ever? Like, legitimately, you can go back today and play all the Arkham games, and they're perfect. I mean, straight up. The stealth, the takedowns, the combos, the gadgets, the story, the voice acting. Those games are about as perfect as you can make, and they even redid them. They did remasters of them for current consoles that are freaking top-notch. A lot of people are talking about the fact that it's just fascinating that this is the only time a AAA game has gotten unanimously negative previews. Now, there's a secret saying that I believe I'm probably allowed to let out, but normally when these major websites are invited to try something early, they have this methodology. They say preview positive, review negative. Now, the reason this phrase exists is that you're playing an unfinished version of the game. It doesn't have a day one patch. It's not fully balanced. A lot of times you're basically trying to go into this with the most open mind possible to say, okay, what are you trying to achieve with this? But in this case, even previewing positive, nobody can really find anything halfway decent about it. I must admit that when I first heard about the idea of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, I was excited about it because it's just so different. And then it turned out to be a looter shooter, a game with random pieces of tech, really weird gun crit statistics and special moves. Like, this is by Rocksteady. This is the same people. I mean, there's also weirdness in the fact that the game itself is just cringy, lots of goofy-ass storylines that don't really make sense. You're teaming up with, like, Penguin to do weapon upgrade stats. I'm sick of this style of game. I despise the fact that we're getting to this corporatization of art that just drives me nuts. Where, let's face it, they didn't make this because they thought it was a good idea. They didn't make this because they believed in it as a passion project or something that could have the potential to surpass the Arkham games. They made this because they want to put microtransactions in it and battle passes. I mean, this is straight up just supposed to be a money printer, and they're so dead set to press go on the money printer, they forgot to make it fun. Look at this UI. People are actually just mocking this constantly because it seems like parody. Look at everything on the screen here that's completely unnecessary. Quest icons, how many different weapons you have, your shields, your items, your different cooldowns, your emotes, your mini-maps, your backdraft stuff. Oh my god. People are actually, there's all these like memes that people make where they try and make like the most purposefully bad UI possible of like, hey, here's a heads-up display that's terrible, like Silent Hill 2 with a quest objective marker, a health bar experience. Yeah, this would be great. Yeah, everybody is straight up saying like this is literally beyond parody. This is just so terrible that jokes are not as bad as the actual UI. But here's the other part of it. So I decided to actually read these previews. I decided to go through them with a fine-tooth comb and see what specifically is just so atrocious. And apparently it's a lot of things at once. It is the fact that, like, I mean, the story is bad, the voice acting is cringe, the writing is trying to be funny and doesn't really land, but a lot of people are expressing the massive disappointment with the fact that this is something that the Arkham games did good, which is that sense of being Batman. Traversal, exploration, getting a chance to learn Gotham City and go on adventures, and, you know, every time you were doing something, it had that impact. Since there has to be these 4 separate characters, they need to make them all basically play the same, which makes it very, very boring. I mean, everybody just has the same style of, all right, you know, Harley Quinn's got a grapple hook and Deadshot's got a jetpack. I mean, they all have to be able to do the same thing. They have to be able to get to the same spots and have the same attack range and do the same stuff with some slightly different flavors to it. It's wild to me that they couldn't figure out a way to make these people feel better, to make them feel drastic. I mean, at the very least, aren't you trying to encourage people to play the game more? Like, I haven't played Destiny much in the last couple of years, but I enjoy playing my Warlock in that, and part of it's the fact that I enjoyed that even though everybody is a weapon-based class, super abilities, passive bonuses, melee, it was cool that each different style of hero felt different. Their goal of trying to homogenize this, to make everything feel and look the same and have the same pace, washes out any sense of flavor. Like, look at this. It's empty, it's boring, it's just so lacking any soul. Look at all the crap on screen. I will never get over the fact that there's just 8 trillion freaking things on screen. Look at it. Why is every single line of dialogue? Oh my God. You know, it's been a while since we just had a AAA game die on release day. I think this is going to be one of the most expensive failures ever. I can't wait to hear the financials of how many hundreds of millions of dollars it took to create this. Like, why can Harley Quinn even double jump? Like, this looks so slow, so boring, so incredibly bad. What in the hell was the point of this? Why couldn't we just get another Arkham game? What's so wrong with a single-player Batman game? Why was this somehow supposed to be better? All right, I just wanted to talk about this because honestly, I am annoyed. I am very disappointed with the fact that this game could have been great. It could have been fantastic. There were rumors at one point that Rocksteady wanted to try and do a Superman game, and I don't really talk about it in videos, but I'm very obsessed with Superman. It would have been cool to have a gritty, realistic Superman game, but instead we got this, where we're just probably going to shoot. We're just going to shoot Superman. We're just going to shoot Batman. We're just going to shoot everybody. Just everybody. Just shoot them. Yeah, great. Wow, look, a perfect picture to sum this up. Amazing. Well, what do you guys think about Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League? Tell me your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and please keep dreaming. What a flop. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.